Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being here tonight. I am just really delighted and honored to introduce a bipartisan delegation here led by Chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Mike Turner, who has come many times. And I know they're here to show their very strong support for Ukraine. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I want to begin first by thanking our ambassador. We're very proud of her service here and her leadership. We've received great briefings today on behalf of her team, and we really think that both the ambassador and those working at the embassy really embody the American support for Ukraine. We're here with a bipartisan delegation from Congress to show our support for Ukraine. Obviously, the United States, in both continuing its providing of weapons and financial support, is answering the call against Russian aggression. I have with me today Congressman Jackson from Texas, Congresswoman McCollum from Minnesota, Congressman Gonzalez from Texas, and Congressman Joyce from Pennsylvania. We are a group that is focused on the issue of national security, international security. We've been very pleased with the reports and the briefings that we've received both from our team and from the Ukrainians on what's possible here and in ways in which we can continue our support. We met with President Zelenskyy today and voiced our support for his leadership and what we're accomplishing together. He continued to advocate to us for additional air support and air defenses, and also for the United States' aid to come more quickly, all of which are things that we share of his concerns. So I want to begin first with recognizing Congressman Jackson.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I just want to say it's a great honor to be here. We learned a lot today. Thanks to say thank you to President Zelenskyy for having us here. Thank you to the Ukrainian folks for welcoming us and sharing some of the information, telling us a little bit about what's going on. It's been really impressive to see what the Ukrainian military is doing right now. And the support they're getting from the civilian sector as well. We got a lot of briefs on that as well. We in the United States are learning a lot from what's going on here. Things that lessons learned that will help in future battlefields. And so I just want to say it's been real eye-opening to be here, and we've learned quite a lot. And thank you for having us. Thank you.
I'm Betty McCullum from Minnesota. It was a privilege to be here in Ukraine. It was amazing to hear firsthand the people who have been out on the battlefield defending democracy. Russia's illegal, unjust attack on this country and the cruelty in which it has kidnapped children and continues to target civilian populations is something that we as Americans, we as members of Congress, support Ukraine in being able to fight back. And as was pointed out, we're learning a lot in this, not only how to, counter Russians' aggression, but we're also learning as democracies, NATO and other democracies, to stand together. An attack against one democracy's sovereignty, in my opinion, is an attack against all democracies. So I couldn't be more pleased to say I thank the Ukrainian people for being on the front lines fighting for democracy. And let me close with something I saw on a poster today. Bravery, it's in Ukrainians' DNA, and today we saw that it truly is. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm John Joyce. I represent Pennsylvania's 13th Congressional District. And I first of all want to thank Representative Mike Turner for inviting me on this CODEL. This has been an eye-opening experience for me to see the tenacity and the vigor of which the Ukrainians are facing this attack on the sovereignty of their country. Today is the anniversary of the beginning of the Battle of Gettysburg, July 1st, 1863. I proudly represent Gettysburg. It is not lost on me how this battle was a turning point in the Civil War, and I look forward with the resources, with the courage that the Ukrainians have to see that turning point in this battle against Russia. Again, I want to thank our chairman, Mike Turner, for sponsoring this CODEL, and the Ambassador Brink for her graciousness in bringing us here. Thank you.
I'm Tony Gonzalez. I represent parts of South and West Texas. I want to thank the Ukrainian people for hosting our bipartisan delegation today. Earlier, we met with President Zelenskyy, and one of the things that I mentioned was, regardless of whoever is in the White House, it is important that Congress must and will stand with our allies throughout the globe. And I thought today was a big part of that. And standing with your allies isn't always in just the good times. It's in good times and it's in tough times. And it's a reminder that the United States will always be that leader and that beacon of hope. And I want to thank Chairman Turner for leading this delegation and bringing us here. There's a lot of fight still left in the Ukrainian people. There's a lot of fight still left in Congress, and we're going to make sure that Ukraine has every tool possible to fight and win this war. With that, I'll turn it back over to Chairman Turner.
Sir, we have time for a couple questions. We're going to start with Forbes in the front. First question, Forbes.
Yeah. Marcus Rowe, Forbes Ukraine, and I have a question for Chairman Turner. So, as far as I know, you pushed really hard on the Biden administration to let Ukrainians use American weapons on Russian territory, and I deeply appreciate it. However, I had some conversations last weekend with Ukrainian soldiers who fight in Kharkiv region, and things are not working as well as expected because they still have certain restrictions. For example, they can strike deeper Russian territories than 100 kilometers, but all airfields, all long-range Russian missile systems are located 200 or 300 kilometers from the border. So we can't strike these targets, and we still can't protect my native city of Kharkiv from Russian gliding bombs. Another issue, we can strike with American weapons Russian infrastructure. We can strike bridges in Belgrade region that are used by a Russian army. So, sir, what are you going to do with this? Will you push against this issue, and what do you think about using, for example, ATACMS missiles on Russian airfields? Thank you.
Sure. Well, you are correct. My position is broader than the administration's. I believe that Ukraine ought to be able to use the weapons that are being provided for valid military targets. My position is the same as Secretary General Stoltenberg. Stoltenberg has said that he believes that Ukraine should not be fighting with one arm tied behind its back, that it should be able to respond to attacks from Russia, but also look at valid military targets. One issue that we have, obviously, is the increased production that's also coming from Russia in weapons. This is a math problem, and I think that that there should be an ability to use a military force to respond to that issue also. Next question.
One more question in the front row, please. Could you also announce your
Yeah,
outlet,
Katerina
please?
Halko, Espresso TV channel. So the situation on the Belarus-Ukraine border can be characterized as growing tension. The Belarusian military claims that Ukraine is deploying its forces to the shared border to invade Belarus or something like this. And we are well aware that terrorists often say this to justify their further aggression. So my question is obvious: does American intelligence know about any plans of invading Ukraine from the territory of Belarus, and also are there any signs a tactical nuclear weapon can also be used from the territory of Belarus? Thank you.
Right. So there's been, I think publicly it's been said, there's no indication that there's been any tactical weapons that have been transferred to Belarus. I'm not going to comment on this issue further than that, other than to say that obviously the United States is going to continue to support Ukraine. With that,
One more question,
you see,
and
we
then
can
we're
do
out.
another after.
There's one in the front, please.
Ukraine from Ivan Kosakhin. Thank you. During the debates, former President Trump said that he talked about Putin, about his dream, Putin's dream, apparently to invade Ukraine and conquer it. Apparently Trump did nothing, close to nothing to address this issue. Should we expect an investigation from your committee or from the Congress on this?
Well, first off, I think it's a complete mischaracterization of the conversation. So let me tell you, though, what I think is important for people to understand. Former President Trump, during his term as president, was the first president to provide lethal aid to Ukraine, reversing the Obama administration's prohibition. You recall passionately President Poroshenko stood on the House floor with the joint session of Congress and said, I cannot win a war with blankets, calling on Congress, which we subsequently did, to pass legislation and to encourage the providing of lethal weapons. So, America is standing with Ukraine, and we will continue to, regardless of the political wins or shifts that may occur in our country. With that,
Sure.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job, Ambassador.
Меньше не имело смысла.